Good Tuesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV. Mike Haver, the YouTube channel, talks about all my cars, the internal combustion engine age YouTube channel. It talks about all my cars and trucks and motorcycles and the dogs, and Kiefer does kind of sometimes throw off the kilter there as the doggies when I go to the barn. Come on, get over here, bud. Come on. So, hey, it's a Tuesday morning. Please, hey, good to hear from others on my channel that comment, participate in good Tuesday morning there on this overcast, humid, warmer day here in Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland area, and time of year because it's the greenery is the greenery and things are growing, and Kiefer's over there wanting to harass little ginger baby. It just doesn't end. It just doesn't end on the Kiefer dog wanting to be in control of the girls. But can boys control girls? Can guys control women? Yeah, good luck on that one. Kiefer's got a lot of lessons learned, right? So as we get over here to the driveway, got the electric truck out yesterday to get it all kind of cleaned out, to be able to do another job and work out of, and cut the field, did the Chevrolet Colorado ZR2 Bison ongoing conversations in review yesterday. Cool truck, great looking truck, and just wow. And you know what I forgot to do? I think I forgot to turn off my heat in the trailer. Isn't that just brilliant? It just doesn't end. You know, when you own all these different things in your life, it just isn't easy to be me. As I get in here, all the dogs trying to come in, but no, I don't want you in here. I gotta turn the heat off. And it wasn't for me here in the actual heater. Whoops. Then there you go. Come on, Bubs. Come on. Yeah, whatever. Hang out in the camper, I don't care. But here's the, they hang out this every night. The wife has freedom in the house because all the dogs are out and about. So, watching my channel, you know, yesterday's conversation was the sharing conversations. And today, I thought to myself, why don't we call it the erase conversations? I know, it gets far-fetched on the Iceman's YouTube channel, taking one word of the day, and trying to create content through that one word. But I think I do a pretty good job. I sincerely do feel like I bring, even for myself, I'll brag to myself that even I'm amazed at what I come up with at the last second and get creative of what every word pertains to a car, truck, motorcycle, SUV, camper, trucks, everything in life that revolves around what? This. And if you watched my video on the, what was this guy's name? Arjun Balu. I think it was Arjun Balu, if I'm correct. The international racer from India, gentleman that's 49 years old. And it was intriguing to hear him say that he got a very young start in the motorsports, cars, trucks, I should say. Probably motorcycles, but over there in India. And he said because they didn't have the nightclubs there, that the whole infrastructure of where he grew up was all about car manufacturing, parts, suppliers. Over in India, as you know, it's huge over there, of worldwide supplies from India to make components for worldwide vehicles. So he commented on how the whole infrastructure we grew up was all based on cars and trucks, and that's what got him into the motorsports and kept him out of the nightclubs, because he claims they didn't have many nightclubs. And once again, it goes back to, I've said it so many times, you take all these cars and trucks and motorcycles away from us, and what happens is you become a third world country. I mean, that's the challenge of so many of the other countries in the world, is just that, is the fact that, okay, you can go up there, I don't care, go ahead, Ginger's in the camper, is it such, the whole, I mean, as you know, our country, and even Europe, Germany, so many things have been incredible success because of all these motors, all the fuels, and more than ever, the ongoing conversation on my channel is the constant challenge of the Ice Age transitioning to the EV age. And that's why I thought the erase conversation would be kind of go hand in hand with that, because in so many ways, the EV age is diligently working more than ever in our lifetime to erase the Ice Age. I mean, they really are. I know a lot of people on my channel think that this transition away from fossil fuels just isn't going to happen. And I don't disagree, but I do disagree because it's just a never-ending amount of money being poured into the renewable energies that isn't going to stop. And I really read an in-depth article last night on the Wall Street Journal about the materials, the minerals. And I've talked about this numerous times on my channel. It's about the copper. Here's Kiefer, he's so funny. So I literally buy boxes of balls because for him, he goes through balls. I mean, he just goes, and now little squeaky toy is here. So I read an in-depth article that this guy, Amos, Hochstein, I believe is his name, a senior advisor to Biden, and a senior advisor or senior State Department employee. He travels the world on a regular basis, scoping out mining for these raw materials to keep the electric revolution going and the technology revolution going, because these mines worldwide are starting to become very valuable, and they're the future of the renewables and the artificial intelligence, the computing, all these, the copper, the nickel, the lithium. So these mines are starting to become very valuable, and it's like the oil fields. So basically, it's just like back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, when the oil fields started to populate, and you had the oil fields being taken and resourced. But what's interesting, though, in this article is that this government, our government, is investing heavily. So think this through. And I don't know, and I'm not the expert economics to tell you as a subscriber that I know the world powers to be, governing bodies, stateside here, that has had as much influence, what I feel like, in the transition away from a different fuel to another energy. And so it talks in great length about how our country is investing in other countries' mines and minerals by the hundreds of millions, 500 million, 750 million. And this government's trying to get relationships with other countries to gain control of these big mines. Now, I've never really heard that before. So in so many ways, you could say the state-owned, state-controlled future of this country's mining operations is on our doorstep. And don't get me wrong, there's other investors that are wanting to buy into these mines as well. But it's starting to turn into a bidding war and controlling, and the goal is to keep China from being the number one copper controller. China right now apparently controls like 90+% of the copper market, and our country, as well as many other countries, are trying to transition away from China. It's a never-ending China conversation. It really befuddles me how this country, in so many ways, created China's own economic explosion from us transitioning away from this country's industrialization, manufacturing, and gave it to China for cheap labor. And the big companies all abused it, in my views. I'm sure many feel the same way, but only to come full circle. And now the biggest concern is that China just has too much power on the world, the modern world manufacturing, and it's got to be stripped away from them. And they can't continue to have all this control of all the key things that are the renewables and the computers, and the list goes on and on and on, which they're trying to drive domestic side mining. But they say that to get a mining operation of copper capability is a 7 to 15 year process. 7 to 15 years. So even if they came to a resolution today of getting a piece of land to develop into a mining operation, they're saying, I don't know if it's through all the government loopholes, permitting, and this and that, but this stateside, the Federal Energy Committee, it's called the Federal Energy something Committee, is now trying to rewrite the laws that start opening up an easier way for companies to have access to create mines, to have access to put in more electrical lines. So this government sees what's going to start to play out with all this artificial intelligence, all the green agenda, and what they're doing is they're trying to get legislation passed where these states and these environmentalists can't shut down these projects that are trying to help create the future of more reliable and better energy for this country for the ongoing transition of us evolving into renewables. So for me, I'm sure some people will be like, well, this is the erase conversations, right? It is, because I think in so many ways, this government and the green agendas are trying to erase the ice age. They really are. I mean, and once again, I know most here, just like me, it's not going to transition that quickly as they think it will. It's not going to happen overnight, but is it going to continue to be the push? It will be. But then I think to myself, who doesn't have a device? Who doesn't have a car? So one thing, when you turn your car in, who remembers to erase your phone and information out of that car? Now, for the record, typically dealerships do that, but sometimes they don't. And it's not like your phone that's attached to your car, when somebody buys it and sees Bill's name there or Martha's name and add a phone, you go to add your phone. But I've bought so many vehicles in my lifetime, but it's more the used car side than new car side, even though on some new cars, I've seen the Porter guy who wants to go free ride around the parking lot attach his phone to a new car. Very rarely, but that happens. And so the race capability in the car, which once again, I think a lot of people forget this, but if you're smart, you'll race your phone when you turn the car in. And then something that's always befuddles me is when you go to the home link, usually the dealer does erase the home link capabilities as well, because that makes it so that you can set up your home link all new and fresh. And you have to know how to push the right buttons to do all that. And then as well, like in the Ford Pass, on these vehicles that I own, technically you should delete those Ford Pass accounts, so the next person buys a Ford vehicle, they can upload their information and match it and marry it to the vehicle. And then for like Dodge's side, I don't like the Uconnect, because it's not as easy to remove a vehicle and add a vehicle. It's so crazy. But on Ford, it's very easy. I have my own capability to erase any vehicle I buy and take it off the Ford Pass. But on Uconnect, it's like you have to reach out to them or something. I haven't really done it a lot because I just haven't been the dominant Dodge, Jeep, Ram product, and I haven't been buying used per se a lot of the Ram, Dodge products. So I really haven't run into head-to-head with that. But yeah, so for you as an individual who hasn't texted, or I should say, here's the thing, who hasn't had a speeding ticket where you wish you could erase what you just did? I mean, and that's the thing about life more than ever. Who has that just lousy feeling in yourself when you've done something and you only wish you could take the steps backwards to erase what just played out? And yeah, so many of us, every one of us can tell a story like that all day long in life's adventures of what you've done. You've done something to your car where you actually put a dent in it or you scratched it, and you only wish you could erase that time of what played out with that car. It's like the Corvette. I'm sure that Carvana guy wishes he could erase my video of what he showed the world and how not to unload a Chevy Corvette. Still hasn't been fixed, has it? Right. Yeah, I need to drive that car. But I've been getting so many other new things, it just doesn't play out. Facebook erased my video content of me riding around on my little Honda Monkey with the dogs running around the property, and people thinking that it's going to kill the dog. That I'm a guy that's owned dogs all my life, haven't ever lost a dog ever, and they think that I'm so stupid that I would run my dog to the point that the dog would have a seizure and die. And, so for me, it's like, yeah, right. Yeah, I'm going to do that. I mean, yeah, it's going to be 80 degrees out, 90 degrees out, humid as hell. And I'm going to run the hell out of my dogs until they drop dead. I mean, yeah, it's 60 degrees out, 70 degrees out, and it's a dry day. And I got a pond where they can go in and cool down, and they sit in the creek. I mean, but it's incredible. So and so many people here on my channel, I can guarantee you a lot of my subscribers and say, oh yeah, I posted a comment, whether it be my channel, somewhere else, and the moderators erased it. And that just irks the hell out of you, because it's like, why did you do that? and because a person has their race capability. Yeah, who doesn't know these stories? It's huge. I've already had one major race on my channel and a huge strike against my channel for me running my mouth what I thought made sense, but so many others didn't think made sense and offended them. And I wonder how it plays out. I just sincerely believe that these moderators, all it takes is like one person to reach out and just kind of get an attitude that I don't like that content. Can you please erase that? And I mean, I just wonder how that all plays out in the back end. And at the same time, I hear so many more of the, don't get me wrong. We have a liberal society, you got a conservative society, you got the independent. Everybody has their own different views and ideas. But sometimes, do you feel like maybe the conservative, you can talk to Elon Musk about this, he'll talk about it all day long, that the conservative views were erased. That's one of the reasons he claims he bought Twitter, which is now X, is because he felt that it was very unfair that the moderators were all liberal-minded people, so the conservatives that mouthed off, they don't like them, so they just erased their content. Right, who doesn't know this? Who doesn't know these stories? And it's to the point that Elon Musk has been very vocal about all this. Elon Musk, I mean, it's a fact. Like 65% of the Democratic base no longer likes Elon Musk, nor likes his cars anymore. So that is a fact. So Elon Musk, he's been erased. So many people in the Democrat liberal minded, they don't like him anymore. He was a person that they felt was all the green agenda activists, very liberal-minded individual. He buys X, and he's exposed of who he really is, and he's not a liberal-minded person. I mean, he's so much more borderline like a Trump personality. Borderline. Sincerely. But what has happened? The Democrats, the liberals, they've erased him. They don't want anything to do with him. So many people left the X platform, or the Twitter platform, because of Elon Musk. So, go back to the cars. Who doesn't wish they had a black box in their own personal hands if they ever got in a radical situation that went to a lawsuit and you could erase all the data off that black box? Because that black box has all the critical information on what happened during that crash. And if you were the bad person in that crash, you only wish you could erase that data so they don't have anything to charge against you for what really did play out because of all the information. It's all about the information. Yesterday I talked about the sharing, which I think it's so, it kind of goes hand in hand because we all share so much information. And then at the same time, you kind of think to yourself, wow, did I maybe share too much information? What's really interesting is when I bought this Chevrolet Colorado truck, be so lucky to get one, I really didn't expect these guys to discount this truck much at all, because it's the presentation of, you can only, you can't get these things, be so lucky to get one. And it's really kind of interesting because when the deal kind of finally came down, my sales guy, Ethan, at Coons White Marsh Chevrolet, he was kind of had a look in his face that I was more in depth into buying a truck from Ted Britt Chevy, which I never was. I just kind of stayed on the path of Coons White Chevys. I want to say Coons Ford. It's just incredible. Coons White Marsh Chevy. They did a great job in getting the whole deal done for me, financing, blah blah blah. And at the end of the day, I think Ethan thinks, wow, did we even have to discount this truck per se to even sell it today? So so I think that if he had erased the deal that he proposed, he probably would. He'd be like, holy crap, I could have probably sold this car to ICE guy at MSRP and given him his Chevy rebate. So they had a $750 rebate towards this truck if you had Chevy registration. Since I had the Camaro and Corvette, I said, well, do I get double? He's like, no. He's like, you only give you one. I'm like, that's too bad. So in so many ways, I think in his shoes as a salesperson, he's always thinking, wow, I wish I could erase the deal I showed this guy, because I would have stuck a sticker and I would have made more money off this guy. So it was really nice that Coons was more aggressive, and I'm really glad I went to Coons, because I think at the end of the day, I don't think Ted Britt Chevy would have negotiated. I think they'd have been much more on the continue, we're going to hold it all out. Does Ted Britt Ford now wish they could erase last Wednesday or Thursday when everyone over there, and when I said 5 over, let's do the deal? I mean, sincerely, at 5 over, I was going to do the deal. and they wouldn't do it. So they now wish they could erase that time frame of they were at 15, they went to 10, they did go to 10 the same day. The next day they reached out and they went to $7,500. So they wish they could erase that time. Yeah, once again, it's all about timing, relationships. I mean, who doesn't have a relationship where you've said something to your spouse, your friend, and you only wish you could erase that moment in time of what you said or did that offended them, and then creates the rabbit hole. Who doesn't know these stories? You're a married person? Yeah, you don't think I go through this with my wife? If you don't think that my wife gets irritated and upset with me, oh my gosh, yeah, she really does. I mean, there's a fine line there of where it's just like, you know what? I'm going to erase you, Mr. Iceman, and I'm just going to erase you and move on. That's always a possibility in my life because I'm so crazy of what I do. And I share with you guys all the things I do. And then sometimes, so I feel like, should have erased that. But I'm at an age in life that I know I'm not here forever. And once you kind of get to a stage in life, you just know that for all the things you do and done, you're going to harbor on that. And I think to myself all the time, people erase the people that were here. And it's so sad. And we're all part of it. And I'm not saying that everybody is on the same page on this, but I will say this. How many cemeteries have you gone by and stopped and gotten out of your vehicle and gone and looked at each gravestone to think about all the memories that have been erased from that person that's 6 foot under? I mean, think that through. And that's who we are. One day I will perish and will no longer be here. And the only way I would be different than many others is that I had a YouTube channel that if it stays around, if the way the video content is handled, because it's all about technology evolving and then changing. So, 50 years from now, 30 years from now, does the YouTube original video, does it still have you access to share with who I was? So you go 50 years from now, would somebody, and it would really come down to more of Julie, my daughter, having a child. Because in all reality, if Julie never had a child, per se, there isn't going to be a living, per se, relative directly to me that would really know who I was, which is pretty incredible. It would be the nephew, it would only be actually my niece that on my side of the family that would maybe have somebody that would maybe look down the family line and figure out who the Iceman was. So pretty incredible, right? So the whole point is, as you progress in life, think to yourself, when you perish and you're gone, is anybody be talking about all your antics or what you did, right versus wrong? Or, the only people that are really constantly remembered are these high profile, very well known leaders of the country or athletes or, even them. But even that, it's like, and then you think about this. Who doesn't forget the summer of 2020 that the whole focal point was to erase history? I mean, does anybody remember all this? I mean, you're remembering just 4 years ago. It's hard to believe that it's now 4 years later. And what happened in our country more than ever in modern times was the total erase history movement and it's still in so many ways going on. And they did erase history in a lot of different areas by taking statues down, changing names of schools, changing names of roads. And it's just beyond believable that that's a focal point of people's feelings getting hurt by erasing history of mankind of what good versus bad is. And what's really sad about that is, in so many ways, history has taught us lessons. And if it wasn't for the history of what happened in this country, and we didn't have a civil war, where would this country be today? I mean, sincerely, where would there still be slavery? I mean, sincerely, if we never had a divisionist country of what we felt was right versus wrong, and we didn't have that division that we went to war over it, but we just looked the other way and just continue to let the things be the way they are, in so many ways, you stop back where we are in today's society and you could say, wow, wow, boy, oh boy, what if our forefathers had taken the position that many have today that just want to look the other way and they just don't want to address what history has taught us, and the mindset is just erase it. And that's the thing you hear so many times as a running joke. You send somebody some picture or video that they can't erase, they can't unsee. Who hasn't heard those stories? Who's barking now, right? All the different doggies out here, the neighbors' dogs, all that good stuff. And so anyway, so the Chevy Bison, Colorado, a lot of people are responding on my channel. and that's cool. A lot of people are checking out the videos and a lot of different information. A lot of people agree that 5.3 liter 327-year-old Chevy small block motor in this truck would have been so cool. It would have been such a better way to go. One guy doesn't think it would have gotten much better gas mileage. Well, I'll say this much. I'll take the same gas mileage for a more beefy exhaust note, more powerful feeling truck. So many out there feel like the Raptor Ranger really is the better of the two, which I don't disagree, but I think that the Chevy Colorado is a cooler looking truck. I think it has a nicer look. Some people don't. Some people think it's ugly as heck, but I think that Chevy did a good job and that it's a really good looking vehicle, and I really do like it. But the challenge is getting in and out of this truck. It's quite the leap. So I really do need to get those steps, which that's just more money, more money, more money, more money. And then I've got a date with Mac to put on the MBRP exhaust. And does that really do much, this thing? I mean, I don't think it'll do a lot, but I get a little bit of back end look on the tailpipe, and it gets a little bit of a nice noise to it. That would be really cool. But no, just a really great truck. Fuel mileage on it, not the greatest, but if I'm buying everything for fuel mileage, then I get electric vehicles I can drive pretty much every day of my life and work out of and spend 10, 11 bucks versus I'll spend like 20, 30 bucks to drive something like this. But it's all about the fun factor. And then who doesn't have the buyer's remorse that they just want to race? They want to race the whole deal. Yeah, and that's a huge problem. I mean, there's definitely people out there that get caught up in the moment and buy a vehicle, do something, and then they only wish they could erase that time before they get caught up in doing all that. So for the Chevy Colorado ZR2 Bison Edition, I think it's a really good looking truck. But I tell you what, the Trail Boss, anybody out there, I saw a Trail Boss yesterday. I have to really say that that's a really cool looking truck. It really is. And it's probably, I would imagine, $3 to $5 grand less. And so I would actually really, if I would have gone to the dealership to, like, let's just say Coons of Whitemar Chevy, and let's just say this thing got sold out from underneath of me, and there was another one of these, if it's a Trail Boss, I probably would have considered that. I probably like, you know what, this is a really good looking truck, and weighed that option as well. Here's the good old Ram truck, and the TRX, which, you know, that thing there, it's just a note of the note of the note, which I mean, it really is. I mean, this truck here, I really fell in love with this truck, and I've said it so many times. I wouldn't have bought the Raptor 37 had I got this first. But now, we could say the Raptor 37 will be the cards in my deck to get the Raptor Ranger, which that'll be the next adventure. Hopefully, you know, we'll have to see. It's not easy, you know, it really is. It's very challenging. I talk about this all the time. Extremely challenging to have all these vehicles, and so many reach out and go, why don't you get rid of them? And I've talked about this on my conversations yesterday. Well, it's not that easy because I'm not putting down $20,000 in a car. So, as I said yesterday, I'll give you an example of this Colorado. I mean, I was very fortunate because they took $3,100 off the vehicle. But here's the ballgame. This is a $62,000 vehicle. So they dropped it down to technically 58 grand. But then the trick is they add back in the freight of $1,595 and $595 dealer processing fee. So there automatically goes right back. Their $3,100 discount per se just got kind of wiped out. So now you're back up to 60 grand. Then you have sales tax. State of Virginia is like 4.3%. So that's basically, you know, $2,400. Then you have tag and title fees, $250, blah, blah, blah. So now, you know, you're up to $2,700. So now you're basically at $62,700 on this vehicle, even with the discount. And then comes the gap. The gap today is so stupid, it's ridiculous. It's $1,200 to $1,500. But it's all proportional, prorated. Then it goes to the extended warranty, the maintenance, and the tire wheel package, which these things are all prorated, and it's bundled in the deal. And then you put down like for me, I put down like $3,100 on the vehicle, or $3 grand down. So at the end of the day, you got about a note here that turns out to be like a $65,000 loan. So now, somebody says, well, sell your vehicle a month or two from now or 6 months from now. Well, yeah, what do you think the vehicle's worth? I would have to say in the market, maybe on my own 50 grand, maybe 55, maybe. Traded in, probably worth about 45 grand. I would say 45, 48, maybe. That'd be that'd be so I would have to get my checkbook out and write a $10,000 check to get rid of this vehicle. Well, it's the same thing that goes hand in hand with all these other vehicles. So for me to dump these vehicles, if I had these vehicles 2 or 3 years, yes, there's no doubt in my mind I could dump some vehicles. But when you're a guy like me that's constantly buying a vehicle all the time, and they're only 6 months to a year old, it's very challenging. But then when you buy an EV vehicle that takes a loss like never seen in modern times of a truck, you forget it. And that's something that Arju Berlew guy, racer guy, said about the electric vehicles. It's like you're witnessing how people buy these vehicles and their values, there's no value to them. They get crushed on their values. Even Tesla, what has Tesla done to its own market from just giving away cars like never seen, and discounting them so much? But it's beyond believable of what's going on, because it's all about the money factor. And the reality is, to stay in business, these guys are having just to move product and they have to so-called give them away, which is the constant rhetoric conversation through the YouTube world and all these car dealerships and the car industries in a disarray like never ever seen. And it's bad beyond bad, which in some ways I can believe that, because all the vehicles that are used now are starting to depreciate substantially. But for you as a person sitting on the sidelines, you should be very excited that all these freshly used cars are coming to market and the values on them are tanking, and you can get a really good deal. And then it makes sense that you can buy the used Ford Mustang Dark Horse for 45 grand instead of paying what somebody paid 70 grand for it. And you'll be jumping up and down. But the question is, how many people will give up their Dark Horse and take the beating? So that's a whole other variable. When it comes to these specialty vehicles, what I've witnessed in my lifetime, typically the guy that buys these specialty vehicles, they're not typically the guy that's in dire straits money-wise. I'm talking about a dime a dozen. I'm not saying a select few, but what I've noticed over the years, you know how many years I was hoping and praying I could buy a Viper GT for half the price of what it was sold for? You know how many years that somebody was sitting on the sidelines hoping that all these Mopar products that were, 100 grand are worth 45 grand? But at the same time, the very early days of the Mopar products, the $60,000 Hellcat, you could find them for 48, grand or so, but you can't find them for like half. But I could be wrong. This market has gotten really beat up, but I'd love to hear the red eye story of the guy that gets one of these for like 45, 50 grand, half off. I just can't see it. Point is that, what I've always kind of witnessed is these specialty cars aren't in the market. So there's not many of them. So you may find a deal. You may find a deal on one of these, but I don't think there'll be a lot of deals. And that's the challenge. Because sure, there's going to be some people that bought these cars that screwed up big time financially, and they'll have no choice to give them back. But once again, I don't think it's going to be a dime a dozen versus just, the Scat Packs, the Challengers, Chargers, the non-Hellcat high-end cars, just like the Camaro Z28. This kind of had a soft market a few years ago, but the market for this has kind of come back. The Harley side, what's wrong with Harley? Yeah, I'd have to honestly say, what is going on with Harley? I don't know. Do I think Harley's strong? I don't. Do I think Harley's going to be in challenging times? I do. I really think that Harley-Davidson has got challenges. When you see a company like Frederick Harley-Davidson on Frederick let go of the franchise, sell off the property, and nobody picked it up, that's a statement. It tells you a lot. It tells you that there just doesn't make any sense economically to be in that business. So is there another? But once again, I talk about this all the time. For Skyline Harley in Winchester, that's a great thing for them, because they're going to pick up business from that Frederick, Maryland area, because so many people lived up there in the Hagerstown 81 corridor that can shoot down 81 to Winchester to go to Skyline Harley. There it is. And even for like me, do I go to Fairfax to look at a bike, or do I drive out to Skyline Harley, which is a nicer atmosphere, nicer ride, no traffic like you go other places? So it's one man's loss is another guy's gain, which is, like I say, I think the Skyline Harley, it's a blessing. Because I think Skyline Harley, it was challenged. And I think that just really does help them become more successful. All right, that's pretty much it. I'm just like to talk and share my ideas and views. And it's a never-ending, ongoing, what's next? The John Deere mower, I don't know. I don't know if it really... the thing about this area is this. Is if the rain's kind of let up by like June, if you get to mid-June, the rain, really it just isn't a waste of money to have 2 mowers, really. And it's just another financial obligation. Look at the poor old Super Bee Charger Scat Pack that barely gets driven because I'm constantly always buying something else. It just doesn't end. So all my energy and focal point goes to having fun with that new vehicle, and the other vehicle just gets kicked to the curb. I mean, that's all that really goes on all my antics. And I finally got the valve stem caps for Kirby's truck. I actually ordered over the internet, Amazon. I ordered some for this truck, and I ordered some others for my Ram TRX. If you come over here, but it should have been like a matte finish on that valve stem cap. But oh well. In a pool project, it's on hold. I really want this area to get really dried up, and then I want to take my blade, and you can see where the high spots are and the low spots are, and so I think I'm going to just keep on grading out to kind of get that all a little bit flatter. And it's not a big deal really. If the pool is even up, it's just kind of cool out and cold out to even do that. What's really interesting is out there at Koons Baltimore Ford, they always would put nitrogen in the tires, and they always put these little green caps on the valve stems of the vehicles they sold. And something I just noticed yesterday, because the Ram TRX had those green valve stems. When you see a green valve stem cap, that means that they put nitrogen in the tire. It's a waste of money. Maybe out there, it's a total scam. It's a money-making operation for the guy that sells all this stuff to these dealers. It makes so much money off of that baloney. It's so bad. It does not work. You still have fluctuation of tire pressures throughout the year. Ask me how I know. I'm in the industry, so I know what I'm talking about. So it's a waste of money. First time I've seen a Ford vehicle come in that I bought from Koons Baltimore Ford, no green cap on that vehicle. So I'm pretty confident that when Asbury Automotive Group came in and bought out Koons organization, they terminated that. That's just a bunch of waste of money. So for the guy that was given the Koons Ford Baltimore the money to be doing this, he lost a good client because that was huge. You're talking about them maybe making 300-400 cars a month on the new side. They wouldn't do it on the used side, they're on the new side. And once again, it's just a waste of money. Don't do it. Don't get caught up in that. It changes nothing. And even here, this Bronco here that we bought this year. Hey, how many cars have we bought this year? What? How many vehicles so far this year? 14. So the kid thinks we're at 14 vehicles. Wow. Huh. We'll have to have that conversation another day. But yeah, same thing here. They didn't put that nitrogen in the car. And then what's really weird is I was telling you the other day, it's kind of weird because Koons usually gives you a nice frame and their thing in the back of the vehicle or the front of the vehicle. And on this one here, it was just a piece of paper. It was just a piece of paper. So I got creative and I took Koons Baltimore Ford's frame and I put a backing on it to make sure that temporary tag will last. Because sincerely, that thing was just a piece of paper. I hasn't seen this driving down the road on a brand new car where the piece of paper is literally getting ready to fly off the vehicle. Who hasn't seen this? I'm sure many people here have. Hey, you know what, guys? Why don't you guys get in here? Because you know what? The fighting in the office fight drives me nuts. Go on, get in. Yeah, when you have Kiefer, what's so cool about this camper? Yeah, is it the doghouse? It is. It really is. It really is. And it does make a huge difference inside our house. Now this thing here is all the dog hair and crap in it, but it's a camper. It's truly my second home. Yeah, if the wife kicks me out of the house, I do have a second home. Yeah, did that happen? Oh, yeah. If I could erase all the things I've done to change attitude in life? Yeah. Would she have a different opinion? Sure would. But let's not go down that rabbit hole, right? So anyways, I've got myself a nice cover for the back of the Colorado. I think I'm going to take that rear spare tire out because I want to have a cover on that truck to be able to work out of it. Right now, very challenging to be able to work on that truck because it just doesn't have any room. So that tire really does take away all of that capability. So let's go upstairs here and say hi to the Kiefer boy and then say goodbye for the morning. As I know, my conversations are quite lengthy. I do know that. And that does turn off people, I'm sure. But other people, I think, just like to hear the ongoing conversations and ideas and views, the scenery, the antics, the Kiefer dog, the kid that showed up to work. And there's the future pool, which does that turn into another week or so? I don't know. We'll have to truly see how it all plays out. I had a guy reach out the other day. I need to check my email for the my Ice Age TV stickers. I had a guy on YouTube actually reach out and say, how do I get some stickers from? Which I thought that was pretty cool. Here, so see how much more tame the dog is. Do you see this? Yeah, if you follow my channel, there's a new company that just bought out that other company called New Res Shell Point. So they bought out that my specialized loan servicing, which I think they're a bunch of crooks. So they sold out to another company. What are these shysters gonna do to me? I told the wife yesterday, it's like, you watch. I preached back during the pandemic. We needed to get away from that company, but she wouldn't do it. You know, so yeah, so hey, you don't think the wife has input? Yeah, you're kidding me. Yeah, you're kidding yourself on that. So anyways, I think that's about all I can probably off the tip of my tongue share with you this morning. As so many things I think all of us could agree is you could erase certain things in your life. Yeah, who doesn't know these stories, right? But at the same time, I think all of our mistakes in the end bring us good fortune if you're on the right page in life. I really do. I truly believe that for all the mistakes we make, if you know how to handle things correctly in life, I met this young man yesterday out in the middle of a parking lot, Indian type of looking man, probably in his 30s, and mental challenges, begging for money. And I listened to his story. I mean, I did. I said, what do you do with this money? If I give you some money, are you going to go buy drugs? He's like, no. Are you going to go drink? I said, just tell me what it is. I'll give you money no matter what your answer is. But I want to hear your story. So he's telling me his father used to own gas stations, 7-Eleven gas stations. And now his father has a girlfriend, and she's pregnant, and they've had a baby. So now he's been kicked out of his father's house because of this newborn baby. And so he's trying to survive on his own. But he's not doing very well. And at the same time, in today's world, he's dressed up in a big black jacket with shorts on. And I'm borderline like, is this guy going to pull a gun on me any minute, and take my truck? I mean, who knows? And so I just continue to listen to his story. And it was just, in so many ways, it's just unfortunate because he's struggling in this physical world because his family has abandoned him. And I'm sure there's a lot more to it than he's sharing with me on that. There always is. But anyways, so I use a character. I said, well, how much money are you looking for? He says, $20. I said, $20? I said, how many times a day do people give you $20? I mean, what do you make a day? And he really he was saying, man, I don't really make a lot of money. I was like, I don't know. If you get people to give you $20, that's pretty substantial. So, no, Keith. No, drop it. So, he just got my water bottle top. Eat your bowl. Eat your bowl. So anyways, I was like, man, but he came across like, nah, most people don't give him any money. So anyways, I gave him $10. And I was like, can I hope that, your life can come to be? I don't know. It's very challenging. And that's the challenge we have in today's world is It's a mental crisis like never ever seen in our country, and it's throughout the world, just as in us. So that's it. Just like to share stories, everybody. What I'm gonna do next? Who the heck knows? I need to take my mirrors from my former Honda CT125 trail bike out to Winchester Honda because they've already sold it. So that Honda trail bike I sold, you know why? It's red. This year's color is yellow, and people don't really get excited about it. The red is the most sought after Honda CT125 trail bike. I probably could have sold that bike on my own, made $500, but it's all about the timing. So thanks for watching my channel. Share the channel, and I hope everybody has a truly great, blessed day. You don't have a day where you have to erase everything. I never did bring up, remember how the good old days of a typewriter? Who can, I mean, when I first got going in my career, I used to have a typewriter, and I used to type thank you letters and proposals to customers, or if you wanted to write a letter to your mother or father, so you used a typewriter. It was a real typewriter. And who can't, I mean, my age group, you had to get white out when you made a typing error on that typewriter instead of starting all over again. So you would get white out to show your imperfection. Well, then the manufacturers of typewriters created this ribbon where you could backspace and it would erase what letter you just typed. And then you can start fresh and start typing again without that grammatical error. Oh wow! So so the erasable typewriter was a huge thing back in my day when that came to be. That was really cool. I'm sure many people of my age group remember all those things. I mean, it's just incredible where we are in today's society of what we did of handwriting things down and having to manually type things, and you had to get a dictionary out if you didn't know how to correctly spell a word. You had to literally get a dictionary out, or you didn't understand a word you were going to talk about and get the definition. Does everyone remember all these things? Instead of now autocorrect, you do a PowerPoint presentation, you do anything you do on the internet, it'll actually help you write it correctly. Now artificial intelligence, it's going to overtake whatever you said and reformat it. I wonder how many kids these days, don't tell me the wrong way, but I mean, just wonder how somebody could get a typewriter out and actually type a complete letter. And I'm sure there's many young people that could, but at the same time, how many could, if you understand that? Or how many of us could, right? Hey, everybody, thanks so much for watching my channel. Long video. Sorry. Hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned for more conversations. God bless.